You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Johnson versus Fortuné.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Ms. Johnson, after years of pain and suffering, you've petitioned the court for a DNA test to answer the question your son, Damien, has had all his life. Who is my father? You believe the defendant's deceased brother, Mr. Damien Ellerson, is the answer, and the DNA results will prove that today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Fortuné, you claim your brother cannot be the father because Ms. Johnson has admitted to sleeping with other men. But if today's results prove he is the dad, he would be his only biological child. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Damien Johnson.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
lived for years without knowing who your father is, and today you hope to finally have the truth. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, Ms. Johnson, I'll start with you. Why are you so positive Mr. Ellerson is Damien's biological father?
Damien, he was my first love. I would do anything for him. We were together all the time, and it just, I know in my heart that he is his father.
And you say it was your first love.
Yes.
What was it about him you loved?
Just his energy and his smile. I mean, he was like he didn't have a care in the world.
It makes you emotional to see his picture?
It does, because I'd give anything to have him back. I miss him all the time.
I'll go to you, Ms. Fortuné. How did you find out that he may be the father of Ms. Johnson's son, Damien? How did you find this out?
I found that out through my mother.
Really? What did she say?
She says possibility that Damon have a child. And so they were supposed to get a DNA. It was like, you know, my mom wanted to know, and then my mom didn't want to know because she never came and told us. He was already old enough.
Ms. Johnson, when did you first tell the family that Mr. Ellerson could be Damien's biological father? When did you first share this information?
Like a week after his 13th birthday. And that's because when he was first born, I got assistance from the state, and I gave 2 potential names, and one of them had a DNA test and the other one didn't. He was automatically assumed the father by default, and that was when he was 2 months old.
The second name
Yes.
didn't show up to court?
Yes.
All right.
He waited until a week before his 13th birthday to have a DNA test done at home. Then my son comes home from being at his house for the weekend, and he said, "Mom, my dad stuck a Q-tip in my mouth and said he was checking to see if I had any diseases."
Whoa.
And I said, "No, son, a DNA test is what he did."
So, Damien, I want to ask you this. Since you remember and you told your mom, tell me about that day. You were visiting the man you believe to be your biological father.
The dude that's supposed to be my dad signed my birth certificate. He pretty much was all on a roll, like, yeah, we're just checking to see if he had any diseases. Like, I asked him, too. I was like, you know, like, what's going on? He just, we're checking to see if he had any diseases. So later on that day, I ended up going home with him, and then I ended up going home to my mom after he dropped me off. And I told my mom, like, Mom, this doesn't seem right. Like, he took me to doctors to see if I had any diseases. Like, I'm 12 years old. Why would I have any diseases like that, you know? So, like, I was still sick later on that day. I ended up going home, and I just told my mom, like, something about this just doesn't feel right, you know?
And so, Ms. Johnson, you remember that day, and at some point, did you get the results?
Yes, and it came back that he wasn't his.
Oh.
And then he just stopped talking to me. He just, like, left me, just, no dad.
So, Ms. Johnson, that's what leads you to now believe Mr. Ellerson is Damien's biological father.
Yes.
Because the other 2 gentlemen who you thought were are not possibilities.
Right.
So, Damien, what did your mom tell you about Mr. Ellerson?
She told me that she was deeply in love with him, you know, like, they met and they had, you know, sexual intercourse, all that, when around the time I was born, you know, the year 96. So it could be a possibility, but we never really figured it out because, you know, he's deceased. And thinking, like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, it's gonna be so much work trying to figure out if he's really my dad, because you gotta go through so much stuff. But it's like, my mom shows me pictures and everything. I do look like him, you know, and it's out of all the dudes she does show me, he is the one that I do look like. Like,
Out of all of the dudes she shows you. So when you look at the picture, you feel like you see a resemblance?
yeah.
Did you meet his family?
I met him once when I was 12 or 13, I think. He took me to the park, and I met.
You're right. I forgot all about that, yes.
So, Miss Fortuné, what did your mother say to you about this meeting?
She said Miss Johnson, you know, gave her pictures and stuff, and that he might be my brother's son. So in a way, my mom believed it, kinda, but it was just too emotional. And far as me, kinda, but I don't think so.
So your mother was unable to be here today, but she
Right.
did send a statement to the court. I'd like to read that. The statement reads, "I don't believe my son is the father of this child. I don't remember Ms. Johnson and just met her some years ago when her son was a teenager. She brought him to church for me to see him and told me my son, Damian Ellerson, could be his potential father. He came over and I talked to him for a few hours or so. And then I never seen or heard of him again. I see some parts of my son, but you got to do the DNA in order to find out." That's a statement from Ms. Lethea Murray.
Your Honor, that statement right there is not correct. My son never, to this day, has never met her.
But I do want to get to this point. I mean, it seems you have no relationship really with the family, but you named your son Damian right after Mr. Ellerson. That's his name.
Correct. And that's because he was my first love, and he was murdered. I was dating him. We had relations up until he disappeared.
You wasn't dating him. Miss Johnson, not only that, you slept with two of my cousins.
I slept with one.
Two.
Two.
Oh, so are you testifying that you believe your cousin, not your brother, could be Damian's biological father?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson, you did sleep with Mr. Ellerson's cousin?
Yes, I did.
Well, that cousin is here, and I think we need to hear from him. Jerome? Hello, Mr. Henley.
Hello, Your Honor.
Thank you for joining us today. We are here uncovering a paternity saga, and we are trying to get down to the bottom of who this wonderful young man's father is, because he deserves to know. We've heard testimony that you're Mr. Ellerson's cousin,
I am.
also had a sexual relationship with Ms. Johnson.
I did.
Your cousin, Miss Fortuné, said that she believes you could in fact be Damian's biological father. What do you say to that?
I mean, myself, I don't believe I am, but I mean, there's always a possibility.
Why don't you believe you are? Do you admit having a sexual relationship with Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I do.
Was the sex protected?
No, it wasn't.
So tell me about your relationship with her.
I mean, at the time, me and my cousin, we were real close. I'm like, every time he was with Misty, I pretty much was with him, so I knew about Misty. But I never looked at Misty as, you know, somebody to be with. It just kind of happened at that point. So once my cousin passed away, she reached out to me, I think, to get some belongings of his, you know, and I was emotional about it too. I went over there, was talking to her just about my cousin, reminiscing, and it just kind of, one thing led to another. And the reason why I wasn't protected, because it wasn't planned. It's just something that happened. So.
And so how long did this sexual relationship continue?
During that time, it was just a couple of times, and then I didn't see her for years.
So when did you find out you could potentially be Damien's biological father?
I found out, I can't remember his age, but it was pretty much after she told me about his potential father leaving him. She reached out to me, asked me to come over, to visit or whatever, and she gave me a little bit of the story about how I could possibly be the father, which I was surprised to hear that because we only had, at that time, it was like 2 times.
Just takes once.
It does. So I went over there. I was curious myself, She had us take side-by-side pictures just to do a comparison, which
And this is the picture you took?
Yeah.
Damien, I want to know your reaction from that encounter. What did it feel like for you?
It honestly didn't feel like anything out of the ordinary either to me, but yeah, I remember hanging out and it just never really came to my mind to think about it. Like, he could be my dad. I was going off of what my mom told me, about the other Damien,
Right.
So that's who the only other dude I really thought could be my dad is.
And since being told that Mr. Henley could potentially be your biological father, have you tried to develop a relationship at all with him?
I have not. But at this time, it would be nice to know who my dad is. Everybody else got their dad. Everybody else growing up have their dad there. I don't, So it'd be nice to be able to call somebody dad, It's hard. My mom, growing up, my mom's been my dad, and I've been my own dad, so, it'd be nice. It's rough, but that's why we're here today, to figure it out.
Yes.
Get it out the way.
Yes. We are here today to figure it out. So at this point, we are dealing with 4 possible fathers, 2 of which we have no determination at this point. Ms. Johnson, I believe in this court record, you then told your son there was another possible father.
Yes.
Mr. Slaughter.
Yes.
Can you tell me about your relationship with Mr. Slaughter?
It wasn't no commitment. We'd go over there.
So you basically were having a casual sexual relationship with Mr. Slaughter.
Yes.
And at what point do you tell him that he potentially could be Damien's biological father?
Around the same time that we found out that the DNA test came back that he wasn't the second one. I got a hold of him on Facebook.
Because at this point, you're feeling the pain of the fact that your son has basically just lost the man he believes is his biological father.
He doesn't know who he is anymore. And he deserves to know who he is.
And how did that make you feel as a mother, watching your son have to face that level of pain?
I can't use the word that I really felt like in the courtroom. I raised them, all 3 of my kids, by myself. And for my son not to know where he came from, I can only imagine. But, bottom line, he needs to know where he came from, and that's why we're here.
And that's why we're here.
I told him, I said, what can I say, son? Your mom was a tramp. I was fast then. I can't take it back, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. But he needs to know. I feel in my heart that Damien is his dad, and my son wrestled just like Damien did.
But if you knew my brother was his son, why you could have brought him when he was young to let us know? We could have did a DNA.
As soon as the DNA test came back and I found out that he wasn't that second man's, I reached out and I got a hold of Mr. Henley, and he gave me your mother's information. I called her that very day.
I'm not for sure about that story, honestly.
So what you're saying, Ms. Johnson, is the minute you found out that the second man was not Damien's biological father, because at that point you had convinced yourself, and you all were just living and operating like he was the biological father, but once that test came back, you say you reached out to Miss Fortunet's family, Mr. Ellerson's family, to say, look, the man I thought was the father is not the father. Mr. Ellerson could be the father.
Right.
That was during the time when you also had sex with Mr. Henley.
Yes.
But now we've identified Mr. Slaughter. What have you told Damien about Mr. Slaughter?
That I slept with him in the time frame of me getting pregnant.
The window of conception. So Mr. Slaughter was not able to be in court today. However, the court was able to locate him and ask him a couple of questions. The first question we asked Mr. Slaughter was, what was the nature of your relationship with Ms. Johnson, and how did you find out about Damien?
We met through a mutual friend. I know it might have been sometime in the early 90s. We kind of lost track of each other after, our relations, and then I seen her later on in life. Well, Miss Johnson told me possibly about 2 years ago that I might be a possible father for Mr. Johnson. And my first reaction to that situation was like, I don't think so. He doesn't look anything like me, and why would you wait till he's a grown man to tell me that I might be a possible father when all this time you've known me and we've been friends and it never came up before?
That's not true.
Why is that?
Because it wasn't 2 years ago that I had got in contact with him about this.
When was it?
Back when he was 13.
So your testimony is at the point you realized that man number 2 was not Damien's biological father, you basically started calling everybody. You admittedly were sleeping with multiple men. You said you were fast, and you said you were sleeping around. So you just said, you know what? I'm fanning out, and I'm telling everybody I was having sex with, you could potentially be my son's biological father.
Yes, because we didn't end up following through with it back then, and that's why we're here today.
We didn't have the money. Like, my mom was doing everything by herself. Nobody else wanted to step up and help my mom out, It's ridiculous. Like, I may be 22 now, just like everybody else. Everybody else wants to know who their dad is. I want to know who my dad is. It just shouldn't matter because I'm 22. It shouldn't matter if I'm 13, 6, or 7. My mom's being a mom, and she's trying to figure this out. So these men just need to step up and help her out. She can't do it by herself. She can't. It's impossible. She didn't make me by herself.
You are correct, young man. And because of that, this court also asked Mr. Slaughter, if you're proven to be Mr. Johnson's father, what are your hopes for the future? This is how he responded.
If I am proven to be Mr. Johnson's father, I'm going to definitely, be a good role model to him, a mentor, do all the type of stuff that a dad is supposed to do for a up-and-coming young man. I know it's very important for a young man to have a father in his life, and it's never too late.
How does that make you feel when he says he would like to be there for you? He would like to be a father.
It feels good knowing that somebody is willing to step up and be there, if they are my dad, It'd just be nice to know who my dad is. Just be able to call somebody dad.
Of course it would. And I want you to understand that every person has that desire. And that's why we do this, for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Johnson, your son, when he speaks, I can see how emotional it makes you.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say to your son? He is such an amazing young man.
He is. And I love him so much.
I love you too, Mom.
He excels at everything he does. He's amazing. And people are missing out. And it's not fair at all to any of them. I feel in my heart that he's Damien's. Right. And that would be the only one to carry on his name.
And that's why the stakes are so high.
Absolutely. Because that's 22 years of her son, her brother, that they missed out on.
Well, yes, but they missed out on it, Ms. Johnson, and I want to say this to you respectfully, because what I appreciate about you is that you came in and said, no, I was fast. This is what I was doing. And what we know now is, to this point, We have 5 potential fathers.
There's another one.
Yes.
You said there's another one.
Yes.
So that is
Man, Missy.
potential father number 6.
Yes.
And who is this man?
Mr. Harmon.
So tell me about your relationship with potential father number 6, Mr. Harmon.
There wasn't one. We hung out a couple times and had a couple sexual encounters, and that was it. There was nothing whatsoever.
So this
other
was
than
just sex?
Yes.
But it was unprotected.
Yep.
Which is why you say he could potentially be Damien's biological father.
Right.
Well, Mr. Harmon is here, and we'd like to hear from him. Jerome, will you please escort Mr. Harmon into the courtroom?
Yes. Maybe come up here right on the left-hand side.
Mr. Harmon, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We have an incredible young man here who deserves to know who his father is, and his mother, Ms. Johnson, has indicated to this courtroom that she was involved in a sexual relationship with you, and that you are one of 6 potential fathers. When is the first time you heard Damien could potentially be your biological son?
4 weeks ago.
Just 4 weeks ago?
4 weeks.
So Miss Johnson reached out to you?
Well, we're friends. We're still friends.
Oh, wow. So you have been friends,
Yes.
and you've seen Damien,
Yes.
been around him,
Yes.
but you never knew
No.
he could potentially be your biological son?
No, I didn't. I have other kids, but I don't think that he's mine.
So, Ms. Johnson, how did you tell Mr. Harmon he could be the father? I mean, he says he knows you. He's seen
I'm still
Damien.
friends with Mr. Henley and Mr. Slaughter. We all still conversate. We just never took the step to actually get to the bottom of it until my son reached out and said, "Mom, could you please help me? I need to know where I came from." I feel I did the best that I could. As far as I've been on my own since I was 14. I didn't have my mom nor my dad.
I will say this. Your son, as he sits here, mannerable, respectful, honorable, smart,
Absolutely.
well-spoken. For all you have been through and you have done and have admitted to, I do see the best parts of you in him. And that's all we can hope for as mothers and as fathers. We have not determined that yet, but that when people see our children, they see the best pieces of us. So the fact that you still were able to do this and raise this young man, it says a lot about you. All right?
Thank you.
You know Mr. Harmon.
Yes.
And so when your mom told you he could potentially be your biological father, when was this? How did she tell you?
Last night. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all so much just like built up. It's just like sometimes I just don't want to think about anything, you know? I just want to box myself away, you know? So
He just said,
When
"Mom,
you say
please
you
help
want to
me."
box yourself away, what do you mean, honey?
Like,
I see the tears in your eyes. What do you mean box yourself away?
I feel like I'm not as good as everybody else because they all got dads, you know?
Oh,
Don't ever feel
just
like
break
that.
my heart. Don't you ever feel like that. Do you hear me? Look at me. Don't you ever feel like that. You are worth it. You are just as good.
You ain't
You
any
are. Do you understand me?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's why we're here for you, because you are important and worth it. And whether we get the answer today or not, you still are worth it. You understand me? That just breaks my heart.
Mine too.
And that's why we do this. That is why I will do this till the day they say I can't do it no more. Because I don't care what it is. And I want you to know that there are people that will go to war with you to find out the answers you need. And honey, you will never be in this fight by yourself. You got a soldier in me.
Thank you.
You understand? We're gonna fix it. You be strong, okay? Let's see. I usually say, Jerome, I'm ready for the results, but I don't even know if I'm ready for the results today. So, Damien, I'm gonna ask you, are you ready?
Yeah. I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
Then let's do this. Jerome, the envelopes, please. The first results relate to Mr. Harmon. In the case of Johnson versus Fortuné, when it comes to 22-year-old Damien Johnson, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Harmon, you are not the father. These results pertain to Mr. Slaughter. When it comes to 22-year-old Damien Johnson, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Slaughter is not the father. Ms. Johnson, we've had 2 negative results, and so far, your assertion that you didn't believe these men, I would say that you do believe Mr. Ellerson is his biological father.
Yes.
Is still in contention. These results pertain to Mr. Henley. When it comes to 22-year-old Damien Johnson, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Henley, you are not the father. Damien, are you all right, hon?
Yeah.
I have one more. These results pertain to the deceased Damien Ellerson. The man you believe, Ms. Johnson, is your son's biological father. Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Damien Ellerson, we performed a DNA test with his surviving parent, Lethea Murray. These are the results. When it comes to 22-year-old Damien Johnson, it has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Miss Lethea Murray and Damien Johnson is 0.00%. You are not related. We are at the point where we have gone through 6 potential fathers. You have laid it all on the line, but we know now there's at least more somewhere.
Yes, there is.
How many more?
3.
3 more. Damien, just take a breath, honey. Like I said, we gonna go to war for you today. That's what happens when you have people on your team. When you wanna give up, we don't give up.
I'm ready to give up.
No,
Don't you ever.
no, Damien. Hand, give me a hand. We're gonna keep going. One foot in front of the other. We're gonna do it. You're gonna keep your head up because you are an incredible young man. You have come here and you have exhibited the type of character that I can only hope my son would exhibit one day. And I don't want you to feel anything about not being worth it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay? And we're going to come back at a later date and we're gonna test everybody we can test until we get the answer you need. And Mom, you stood in this courtroom and said it's 3. I don't care if it's 33. I want them all. I want all the names.
Absolutely.
So we can get this answer for this child. All right?
Yep.
All right. I wish everyone the very best. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Because had you not come, he would have always still had that doubt to live with. So thank you. I wish you all the very best. Court is adjourned.